أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Moderated Mediation SmartPLS 4. Now previously in SmartPLS 3 we could not do moderated mediation directly through the tool. We would have to perform different operations. Now this problem is solved in SmartPLS 4. So you've got a process tool that you can use to perform moderated mediation in SmartPLS 4. In this session, we are going to look at a very basic model as to how to use moderated mediation in SmartPLS 4. In coming session, I'm going to do more complex models using SmartPLS 4 to assess moderated mediation. Now this is the model, a very simple model that we are going to assess. This is the conceptual diagram. This is the statistical diagram. Now I've done the same in his process macro or SPSS AMOS as well. Now in this case, we've got one predictor, one DV, one mediator and one moderator. And the variables are continuous. Now this is the model that we are going to test. This is my IV, mediator, dependent. This is the moderator here. My interest is assessing the indirect effect of collaborative culture on organizational performance here through assurance. And I want to check whether role ambiguity moderates this indirect relationship or not. Now this is the sample model. So in more complex model, you may have a mediation model that also has a moderator on one of the indirect effects or indirect paths. So we've got a mediation model here, and this is our moderator that is moderating this path here. Not only you are trying to determine if mediation is present, whether assurance mediates this relationship, but you are also trying to see if the moderator is changing the strength of indirect effect, whether this moderator here is moderating this indirect effect, whether it is changing the strength of impact of CC on OP through ASR. Now in our example, we are going to examine if the moderator is influencing the indirect effect. Our simple mediation test will be if collaborative culture here leads to organizational performance through assurance. Our moderator is role ambiguity here, which negatively influences the relationship from collaborative culture to organizational performance through assurance. That is, higher role ambiguity will weaken the indirect effect of collaborative culture on organizational performance through assurance. Mediation analysis and moderation analysis in PLS-SCM are frequently employed and are well understood. The same does not apply for conditional mediation analysis that draws on both. Now we've got multiple videos on the channel, plus there have been a lot written on mediation and moderation, but there is not much on conditional mediation. SmartPLS tries to address that particular issue by providing us with the process tool. Indeed, extent PLS-SCM applications of conditional mediation, this is how it is abbreviated, often referred to differently, vary in the execution and how they are interpreted. So conditional mediation is a bit different in how it is executed and how it is interpreted. Hence, this session seeks to provide guidance to proficiently conduct conditional mediation analysis in PLS-SCM using SmartPLS 4. Application of conditional mediation analysis in PLS-SCM context are scarce. Now there's not much done using or on conditional mediation in research using PLS-SCM, but this is going to change because now we've got a process tool that we can easily use. The conditional mediation index, that is index of moderated mediation, the effect that a moderator has on mediation relationship is actually utilized to assess whether your indirect effect is being moderated. Now if this index is significant, then you are going to say that yes, my indirect effect is being moderated. So what you need is you need to calculate your index of moderated mediation. In one of the model, you will have it from the process tool. Otherwise, you will have to apply a formula to get it, but that's very easy. Conditional mediation combines mediation and moderation analysis to examine and test hypotheses about how mediated relationships vary because of your context, boundaries, or individual differences. It occurs when a moderator interacts with one or more of the paths of the mediated effect. So in this case, the path that is being affected is from collaborative culture to assurance, such that the value of mediated effect changes depending on the value of the moderator. And if it does, this is your moderated mediation. More formally, in conditional mediation model, the independent variable X influences the outcome variable Y through one or more of the mediators, and the relationship is conditioned by the values of one or more moderators, that is your W or Z. Now this is the essence of moderated mediation. Now we need an index of moderated mediation, and an index term analysis should be conducted when the moderator is continuous, and the goal of conditional mediation analysis is to assess the rate of change or slope. Now in this example, we are just going to look at the continuous variables. Now this is your conceptual model, this is your statistical model, this is the relationship that is being moderated. And when you've got your statistical model, look at this, the interaction of X and W is referred to as path 5, P5. The impact of moderator on the endogenous variable in the relationship is P4, X to mediator, predictor to mediator P1, mediator to DV P2, and independent to dependent P3. Well, this is important. One should know these. Otherwise, doing moderated mediation and understanding moderated mediation will not be easier. So you should know these labels for the paths. And again, index of moderated mediation is used or calculated to assess the significance of indirect effect in presence of the moderator. So we are not going to discuss this anymore, and we are going to go on to the formula. So index of moderated mediation in this case is already provided. For this type of model, it's already provided by SmartPLS 4. For other types of model, you will have to calculate the index of moderated mediation, and that's very easy. You just have to multiply the paths. That's it. In this case, it's P2, P5. Why P2, P5? So P5 is your interaction term influencing your mediator, endogenous variable in the relationship. So if this W would have been affecting this relationship here, then we would have multiplied P5. This would have been here influencing Y, P5 into P1. Then this would have been different, but we are going to look into that later. Now, simple model. So P2 into P5 will give you the index of moderated mediation, and if that is significant, then moderator moderates the indirect relationship of X on Y through M. Okay, again, one more thing. Please note, it is important that quality criteria, your measurement model, and other structural relationship have been assessed before, and then you are doing your moderated mediation. So assess the reliability and validity of your constructs just as we do with the measurement model. This is part of structural relationship. This is your structural model assessment. So how do we do this? Let's do this in SmartPLS. So what I need is, I need to do a process model, and I want it to be the part of my first model here, this project here, and all is good. Let's save it. And now here is my model. Let's say I want the data set to be 2. Let's say, so what are my dependent variable, independent variable, and moderator? So CC, collaborative culture. Here is my IV. OP is my DV. Assurance is my mediator, and role ambiguity here is my moderator. So let's hide the indicators for now. Obviously, before you come on and do your process model, make sure you assess the reliability and validity through a normal measurement model that we've been doing all along. You do not need a process model for that. You just do a simple model here. Look at this, PLS SCM model. So let's hide the indicators. Control A, Alt X, all hidden. Let's arrange it here. Collaborative culture here, assurance here, role ambiguity goes here. Let's connect them. IV to MV, MV to DV, IV to DV, and this particular variable here is moderating this relationship here. So I drag it and drop it onto here. If you move the line here and there, look at this, the shape changes. So I'm just going to put it in here, green bold. Look at the green line, and if you move it the other way on the canvas, on any other side of the canvas, it simply changes into plain black line. So here it is. This is the relationship it moderates All done. Now we go to calculate and we do bootstrapping. So normally now these days 10,000 is recommended, but for now, for the sake of this video, I'm going to stick to 500. Bias corrected and accelerated bootstrap gives you its more stable solution. Let's do one-tailed. I do not have any controls, but it doesn't matter. Come here. You want standardized, unstandardized, or mean centered. So let's use defaults for now. Let's start. So here are your results. If you look here, okay, this is fine. So where are my results? Let's go to report. Look at the path coefficients. These are simple path coefficients that you use to get in structural model assessment, in bootstrapping, that we normally used to do in PLS SCM model. The same is the case here, but I'm not interested in these results. What I'm interested for now is specific indirect effects. Now look at this here. This is what I'm interested in. This here, look at this. This is your moderation, the interaction effect affecting the mediator. That is your path 5, and then mediator affecting the DV, that is your path 2. So P5 into P2, just as we did earlier. Where? So your interaction to mediator, path 5. What is this path 5 here? Look at this. This is your path 5 here. This is your path 5. And then mediator to dependent. This is your path 2 here. P2, mediator to dependent. And if you multiply both of them, you get index of moderated mediation. Is there moderated mediation present? Yes, it is present. Look at this. It is significant. So role ambiguity is moderating the indirect path from, look at the model, from CC to OP through ASR. So role ambiguity moderates this indirect path. Why am I saying it's moderating the indirect path? If you go down to report, look at this. It is significant. Now this is simple plain moderated mediation in SmartPLS. Now that we know our moderated mediation is significant, that is your index of moderated mediation is significant, and role ambiguity is actually moderating the indirect effect, that is P2 into P5 is significant. And how do you get it? You can directly get it from SmartPLS as we have assessed. Just go to specific indirect effects. Here, specific indirect effects, and you will have it here. And we have already discussed this. Now, how did I get this value? So what you need to do is you simply look at this value. This is significant. Since the index P2 into P5 of RA is significant, this is significant. How did you get it? Multiply RA into CC. That is the interaction effect on the mediator. Where is it? Path coefficient, interaction effect into mediator, minus 0.101. From mediator to DV here. So if you multiply both of these, what you will get is, you will get this value here. You can simply do it. Let's do it quickly. So my interaction effect to my mediator, that is my path 5, negative 0.101 multiplied by, from the mediator to DV. What is the mediator to DV? Here is your mediator to DV, ASR to OP 0.373, 0.373, and this will give you 0.0376 with a negative sign. If you round it off, you get 0.038. Look at this, 0.038. There is conditional mediation. Now there is another important thing, and that is conditional indirect effects at different level of the moderator. So have a look, CC ASR to OP at mean level of role ambiguity. So this is it. Now what if you increase role ambiguity? Look at this. There is a decrease in the mediating effect. What if you lower role ambiguity? There is an increase in the strength of the indirect effect, and at all three levels your p-values are significant. So this is called probing the conditional indirect effect at mean level, at higher level of the moderator, and at lower level of the moderator. So this is a basic session on how to do conditional mediation or moderated mediation with a simple model in SmartPLS 4. In coming session, I'm going to look into how to do a graph for this and how to report the results. Thank you very much.